Hello, my beautiful dumplings. Now, I feel like we need to talk about the whole social media sphere, because this sphere is mainly known for its problematic creators such as Jake Paul, Tanamojo, Logan Paul, and even those TikTokers who, well, to say at the least, are well, pretty dodgy around kids. And now don't get me wrong, I'm not putting Tanamojo and Zoe Laverne in a box together. No, I don't think you can do that because, you know, one actually committed a serious crime, and two, one of them actually apologized.
First and foremost, I want to apologize for how long this video has taken. There is no excuse, reason, or thing I could say to make that okay, and I want to take full accountability for that.
Now, albeit it was one of the worst apologies in YouTube history, but at the end of the day, she apologized, Zoe Laverne did not, and even if Zoe Laverne did apologize, I wouldn't accept it. If anything, I would just prefer her to walk into a jail cell. But Tanamojo apologized via a lawyer. But what I'm trying to say here, people, is that there are multiple forms of problematic people, and it can get complex in very different situations. With somebody like Jake Paul, I feel like the main problem with him is, you know, he's Jake Paul. But then with somebody like Eugenia Cooney, it is much more complicated.
Hey guys, it's Eugenia. So today I'm going to be doing a video that I'm really excited to do. So today I'm going to be doing a video trying the new Jeffree Star Blood Money palette.
Now, I don't necessarily think that you need an introduction here. Eugenia Cooney is somebody that at this point I feel like most of us on this channel know. She is a dubbed makeup channel. Hey, my name is Eugenia and I make random videos that you will hopefully enjoy. I upload at least once a week and try to post on here as often as I can. Be sure to subscribe. You know, at face value, it seems fine. You know, a makeup channel, they upload more than me once a week, and yeah, it's absolutely fine until, I don't know, you basically just click on one of her videos and you can basically discover that there is a problem here. A much more darker, underlining problem. Now, I do want to give a trigger warning before we go any further, because we are going to be discussing extremely sensitive issues which could upset you, and I probably will make a few jokes here and there just to make this information easier for me to present, as I always let you guys know. So without further ado, 3, 2, 1, I'm not counting correctly on my fingers, but yes, Eugenia Cooney is somebody who pretty much is renowned through YouTube for somebody who suffers from an eating disorder. She is somebody who has been criticized a lot of times, praised a lot of times. There have been a lot of documentaries made about her, and honestly, this whole situation, which has been ongoing for years and years now, is just, well, it's just sad.
I'm not gonna lie, I care, like, really bad. I really do care about you, Eugenia.
Thank you.
I'm really worried for you and scared.
Oh no,
I don't want anything to happen to you. I'm dead serious. I'm dead serious. I don't want anything to happen.
Like make you cry or anything like that. I feel like really bad now.
So in today's video, I do want to cover the issue of me believing that Eugenia's channel is genuinely dangerous for Eugenia's fans and for Eugenia and just a lot of people out there. But I also want to speak about the people who, in my opinion, have vehemently taken advantage of Eugenia's issues and her problems and converted that into genuinely hateful videos whilst putting on a facade of caring about her. And then obviously there are the documentaries, which we're now going to go into. Because in July of 2019, only 5 months after Eugenia publicly stated that she is now getting help, Shane Dawson released a documentary titled The Return of Eugenia Cooney, where he went to Eugenia's house, confronted her, only 5 months after she said that she is getting help. And my obvious issue, and I think a lot of other people's issue, is that this documentary was released, as I just said, only around 6 or 5 months after a very terrible situation involving Eugenia and her getting help. You have to think about the mental strain this could put on Eugenia. Only a few months after getting help, her then being put on some YouTube channel which is getting 30 million views. And I fully understand that Eugenia did invite Shane into her home to discuss these issues, but at the end of the day, in multiple situations involving Eugenia, she has denied having an ED and simply said that she is naturally skinny. Her condition is natural.
Yeah, I guess I've always been like pretty naturally thin.
So I wouldn't be surprised if she denied things and just willingly made a documentary with Shane, and I feel like Shane should have realized that. I think at the time of this documentary coming out, a lot of people were under the pretense of, oh, it's Shane
porcelain. He did Tanacon, and he's gonna save everybody.
When in reality, this is a much more serious situation which should not be handled by a YouTuber and even a YouTuber therapist, because there was a therapist involved in this documentary that I will not name because she is now becoming renowned for striking people who criticize her. And this is another thing to why this documentary doesn't sit well with me, because not only was it one episode, with such a serious topic, they only did one episode, which makes me think maybe this was just a filler video until the next Jeffree Star series came out, but also to have a therapist who is so willing to have conversations and talk about people, it's weird that she then goes and strikes people and hides comments who are open to criticizing them. I really just don't understand who had it in their minds that putting all of this in a video, going to Eugenia's house and having her speak about this to 30 million people only a few months after she got help was a good idea. And now naturally and understandably, people will say, well, you're making a video on it, why can these people not make a video on it? And, I feel like that's actually a fair comment to make. But also, number one, well, I'm not going to Eugenia Cooney's house and confronting her in person about this a few months after she got help. I'm not doing that. And even if that isn't the case, the main reason I'm making this video is because I genuinely believe that Eugenia Cooney's channel is dangerous for not only her, but also her fans out there, and we will get into that. But I also have to clarify, this video will be instantly demonetized. It is a video speaking about ED that is not allowed to be monetized, and personally, I just don't want to monetize that. But I do have to say, I feel like these sensitive topics definitely get kind of halted in the algorithm, so if you could like this video, comment, and even subscribe to the channel to get this video pushed, I would appreciate that, because recently a video of mine speaking about an awful person got half the views of a normal video. Now getting back into it, as much as I don't like this documentary, I don't think it is the worst thing to happen in the Eugenia situation. No, the worst thing, in my opinion, actually comes from somebody who I don't think we'll be surprised to hear about.
Hi, I'm Eugenia Cooney and I'm doing a cooking show. But first I'm gonna eat something on camera to prove to you guys that I do eat. Here are some cucumbers. Are you ready for me to prove you guys wrong, Freely the Banana Girl and Onision?
On social media, there are a lot of creators that do a lot of messed up things, especially in 2020. But for me, it's never a shock that this guy, Onision, is always the lowest common denominator of any YouTuber out there. This guy, it's just utter garbage. But getting into it, in the past, Onision has had this history of posting celebratory tweets every single time Eugenia apparently is getting better. I mean, just look at this tweet, for example. When Eugenia's disorder claims her, yes, he actually said that. He put that on a social media platform which millions of people could see, and thought saying that was a good thing. I plan to make a video featuring everyone who ignored/condoned her disorder. You should have helped her. Ah yes, the beacon of hope himself, Onision, the man who stands up for the little guy, the man who is here to make sure everybody feels comfortable, safe, and just in general okay. Onision, the nicest man on YouTube.
You're like Onision, aren't you? I'm really hungry, but I'm gonna pretend I'm not. So I can fit in my clothes and look good. So what if they're the size of kids' clothes? I want to fit them. So have you seen Onision? He's so obsessed with me. Oh, I guess he doesn't want to talk to me. So I don't have an eating disorder. I just never eat. That's not the same thing. Oh, I'm gonna puke.
Yes, because a video like this mocking her is really gonna help her, Onision. A video titled this, which I've actually blurred a specific word in there, which I think you can fill in the blanks for, is definitely gonna help her, man. High IQ plays from Onision once again. Just level 100 and million IQ plays from Onision. There are so many terrible creators on YouTube and TikTok, but this guy, every single time, just manages to take the biscuit. In my opinion, there are so many creators who have seemingly taken advantage of Eugenia, but Onision it's just to another level of, oh my god, you are actually, I thought you were so bad, but it just gets worse and worse. Especially with these tweets where he pretends to care about her, despite all of the other horrific things that he said. I mean, you know something is wrong when I'm agreeing with Blair White. But then moving away from the worst person on YouTube himself, we go to Eugenia's channel and go through her content and her thumbnails, and there are just a lot of body shots in these thumbnails, a lot of content about her body in general, such as cosplays where her body is exposed. And for somebody like Eugenia, who in the past has vehemently gone against the fact that she has an ED and just said that she is naturally skinny and this is just the way she is born, I think that is very dangerous, not only for her because she is convincing herself that, but also for her fan base, her young and impressionable fan base, which I'm sure she has to some extent. Even if it's to the most small minor extent, it is dangerous because younger people can easily take these words and think, oh, I'm gonna follow suit of Eugenia Cooney, and obviously that is going to lead to an extremely dangerous situation.
You look really skinny. Is there a story behind it? Sorry, I'm on mobile and can't find a bio or FAQ. No, that's fine, Seabass. Don't worry about it. There isn't really a story. This is just kind of how my body is, and yeah, I'm just kind of like naturally this size, so yeah.
I understand that these clips are from around 2 years ago, but at the end of the day, a lot of people are pointing out that Eugenia doesn't seem to be doing well, and I understand that we don't know what's going on behind closed doors, but at the end of the day, we can take some form of perception from videos and thumbnails alone, and I just think a lot of people out there are worried for Eugenia and worried for her fans. With the mentality that Eugenia has shown in the past of her saying that she is naturally skinny and not suffering from an ED, this has caused a lot of damage towards her old fans. I actually had a fan tell me a very unpleasant and just in general horrific story about how Eugenia Cooney's Discord was actually responsible for their very own relapse. Even if today you're still a massive fan of Eugenia Cooney and you like what she puts out, I don't think that any of us can deny that her channel is indeed dangerous and can cause harm, especially with the body shots in pretty much every single thumbnail. And now I think moving away from this is a good segue to make into the topic of Eugenia Cooney's toxic positivity. Toxic positivity is the assumption, either by oneself or others, that despite a personal, emotional pain or difficult situation, they should only have a positive mindset. Now, naturally, especially in the case of Eugenia Cooney, where her physical and mental health is coming at a cost here, this isn't a good thing to follow. Being toxic positive really is just a very bad thing to follow, because I feel like you're not willing to accept your issues and problems, and that can, when you're a YouTuber, spread onto your audience and cause problems and harmful situations like these. I saw a really good video from a YouTuber called Pastel Bow, which I highly recommend you to watch after my video, of where she covered the toxic positivity thing to a high extent of Eugenia and how dangerous this could actually possibly be. And this whole thing has actually shown on Eugenia's social media platforms such as her Twitter account. Don't be afraid of being different, be afraid of being the same as everyone else. Now, I think for a very obvious reason this tweet is harmful, because I feel like it can suggest that Eugenia Cooney's situation is merely her being different and not her being in a very dangerous situation. And by her saying that to a young audience, you can only imagine the damage that that could possibly do to somebody young and impressionable. And it continues with tweets such as, "What you think of yourself is much more important than what others think of you." By her saying this, and basically you don't need to listen to other people, this sets a very dangerous precedent for her fans. And I don't know if Eugenia realizes she's doing this because of contributing factors like her mother, which we will get into, but overall, her Twitter account and posts like this and posts about her haters are very dangerous. It always seems that Eugenia is very dismissive of criticism of her, but there was a situation recently of where she took down a channel which re-uploaded her stream highlights, and most of the videos on this channel were usually something to do with negative connotations surrounding Eugenia Cooney, of where she'll say something on her Twitch streams which will lead to people criticizing her for, and a lot of people took it as Eugenia is silencing this channel and trying to hide this information and hide these videos. But then Eugenia said that she took it down because the channel was apparently trying to dox her, and I couldn't find anything about that, and to me this channel was basically just a highlights channel. And I also believe the mentality of this, of saying that there are haters out there, people that are just vehemently attacking her, whilst it is possibly true that there are definitely people out there who just aggressively attack Eugenia, which I don't think is helping anyone in any situation, I also think for the most part, a lot of people out there who are sending them quite heavy criticism are mainly people who at the end of the day, at the very beginning, were just fans of Eugenia.
So if you feel I am having like a bad impact on your mental health, I really am sorry about that. But I'm not forcing you to watch my content or to do anything to hurt yourself at all, and I would never want that for you. So if you do feel like my content has like a bad impact on your mental health, then you definitely do not have to watch me at all. Again, I'm not forcing anyone to watch me.
Now, personally, I don't believe that Eugenia should be outright removed from YouTube, but I do think that she needs to fully acknowledge that these thumbnails and her titles and her YouTube channel in general can cause dangers and have caused dangers in situations in the past before. Even outside of Eugenia Cooney's situation, I believe that body checking content on YouTube is a bad place to be. I don't think it does any good for anyone's mental health. I think it's severely damaging for a lot of people out there. So I think this stuff just needs to be prevented. And while she might not agree that is her fault, at the end of the day, her channel and her beliefs have caused inspiration for a lot of younger people out there. But at the same time, when it comes to sending her hateful messages, I feel like these people are doing no different to what Onision does. Don't cover your hatred in this facade of caring about somebody, because at the end of the day, that is just gonna make Eugenia and her fans feel that the actual real criticism from people like myself and other creators out there and other fans of hers is only going to come off as hatred, because these people that these trolls that like to just in general be an absolute bellend and hateful bellend towards Eugenia are basically a wolf in sheep's skin. They're trying to disguise themselves as these caring people when in reality they're just trying to upset somebody. Now, don't get me wrong, I feel like most people out there do genuinely just want the best for this situation and want things to be resolved, but at the end of the day, I feel like we'd be willfully ignorant if we ignored the fact that there are obviously hateful people out there towards Eugenia. I disagree with a lot of the things that Eugenia has done, but at the end of the day, I feel like this is a much more complicated situation than it seems at face value. I feel like it would be very easy for me to come onto this platform and say, oh, we need to remove Eugenia from YouTube because that's a quick fix, when in reality, I feel like that could not only be dangerous for Eugenia, but also dangerous for her fans, in given that it seems that Eugenia is being silenced. I think what Eugenia needs is help. I don't know where Shane Dawson and Caddy gone, but I advise her getting help outside of YouTube, and she probably is, and she most likely has a therapist, but I think going to YouTube therapists and YouTubers for situations like this isn't the right thing to do. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying we shouldn't talk about these topics. I fully believe that we need to have these conversations and talk about it, but my problem is it isn't a quick fix. It isn't a 5-month fix. This is something which could take years and years, if not a whole lifetime, to fix. So when somebody gets help, finally, I think it's incredibly inappropriate for only 5 months down the line to make a documentary which is promoted to 30 million people. But then that does bring us to the final point of discussion in this major topic of, is this even Eugenia Cooney's fault?
Hello? Hi, so just so you know, like, is my Switch still upstairs? Can I, like, get it? Okay, because if I try an SD card, it possibly might come back, but I don't know. Okay, thank you. Okay, so my Switch still is upstairs.
As you can see, she nervously calls her mum whilst rubbing her arm and sounds audibly shaken as she asks for permission to go downstairs. I mean, I don't think anybody can deny that, even if you've been disagreeing with everything I've said in this video, that is a very weird thing to do. I've never had to call up my mum and say, hey mum, can I go downstairs? Because that's not a normal thing. You should just be able to go downstairs, pick up your Switch and go back upstairs, because that's a normal thing. But obviously, there are a lot of theories out there about Eugenia Cooney's parents, her mother, and what is going on in that situation. Are they controlling? Do they have control over her YouTube channel? And I can see where this speculation comes from, because there are some really weird clips from Eugenia's mum, but also some quite nasty ones.
I could be Jack Skellington. Not really, you could.
Now, whilst they may be comfortable with making these jokes between each other, I feel like even at that point, it's still a stupid and really nasty thing to somebody who has an eating disorder. I think that's a terrible thing to say to somebody, even if you think it's a joke, because at the end of the day, it's a form of positivity, a joke, a false positivity, making them think, oh, you know, it's okay, when It's dangerous. So the questions are, is who is actually in charge of Eugenia's channel, and are these thumbnails even made by her, and does she even want to make half of these videos? And if she does, I feel like she needs to acknowledge that these videos and thumbnails and titles and her mentality can easily cause people to follow in her footsteps. So to conclude and end this video, I think this whole situation is just terrible, and it does to me feel like Eugenia has been borderline abandoned publicly. I don't know what's going on in the private scenes, but it definitely seems that none of her friends anymore, well, her friends are trying to help, and if anything, the last time they did, it really just seemed like some weird form of capitalization. At the end of the day, I think Eugenia does need to seek help, and I think there are some real questions that need to be asked about her mother, but I also think that it is very hard to dismiss that Eugenia's channel isn't pro-Anna, given the fact that she has said things like this.
You know, I've kind of always been like, you know, like naturally, like, like, I don't want to get too into that because some people like judge me a lot and stuff, but, yeah, I mean, I guess like, you know, people's size can kind of like change, like, you know, depending on like a lot of factors and things, but yeah, I guess I've always been like pretty like naturally thin, but that can kind of like change depending on like, you know, people's like bodies and people's like, you know, as people grow up, like they're not always gonna look exactly the same.
Now, I do believe it is a scientific fact that, yeah, some bodies are bigger than other bodies and some bodies are naturally smaller than other bodies, but when you're somebody like Eugenia Cooney, with the reputation she has of, let's be real, being known for her ED and her struggles with it, I think it's very dangerous for her to state that, you know, her body is only natural, when in reality, she has gone to get help about it before, and she has spoken about it before, therefore she knows that it, you know, it's not a completely natural thing, and I think that's very dangerous to say. Her young fans will hear that and think,
Oh, it's not dangerous, it's natural. I'm going to follow in the footsteps and get myself into a really bad situation.
that is what happens, people, with these influential people who are so against actually hearing the real issues and problems and just dismiss everything as haters or people that just, you know, are being mean, when in reality, we just think that Eugenia needs to be real and needs help and needs to understand that people like me and other people like Jacqueline Glenn are just trying to help. But that is the ending of this video. I would really appreciate it if you dropped a like on this video because, you know, these videos, they don't really do well in the algorithm. They're not monetized, so it's going to do even worse in the algorithm. But at the end of the day, I feel like I need to speak about this issue. It's been highly requested. And in general, things like Onision, I just don't get, man. I just don't get it. How can somebody put out videos like that in such a weird facade? But that is the ending of the video. Please follow me. Please subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to hit 700k by the end of the year. Please follow my Twitter, inaba69, and my Instagram, inaba. If you want to share this video, that would be wonderful. Get the message out there. Make your own videos if you really want to, and talk about this situation if you've had a previous experience with the whole Eugenia Cooney thing. But yeah, thanks for coming along, and I will see you in the next video, which will probably be much more lighthearted. Peace out, people. Have a good day.